All right, what's going on, everybody? Good morning. Um, Once again, the truth just keeps unfolding, and the rumors continue to be destroyed. The rumors continue to be disproven. We've heard so many things regarding the heavyweight division, regarding Tyson Fury, regarding Alexander Usyk, regarding Deontay Wilder, regarding Anthony Joshua, but we've never gotten the actual truth until now. And I am going to reveal it to you right now. If you could be patient with me, I am about to play something for you that will get to the bottom of it all.
Rumor in the market. I hope the fans of the boxing until they have official thing from our side. There is a lot of people talking fight in Saudi Arabia or talking, meeting me. Uh, I never meet anyone except Frank.
What were you thinking at that point? What's he referring to there?
Well, I think he's referring to what the current position is, and you know, you've got to be if you can't understand what the man said, which is he was quite plain and open with, then obviously you're on another planet. You're delusional.
That's what you were called, weren't you?
Well, I'm delusional, and I've all been delusional for years. We all know that. You know, you got to deal with reality. You know, one thing I said that, you know, there was never going to be Tyson was never going to be on some super heavyweight card. We made that very clear. We all knew that was never going to happen because we never had an offer for it. And I don't know how many times you and I have had a conversation about the Joshua, and it's not. And for the problem is the amount of money they felt that they were going to get paid or heard they were going to get paid. They're never going to achieve that anywhere. That's just not going to happen.
Of course,
if it doesn't happen, do you know what would be a good?
All right, so you heard it there. You heard it there perfectly. Frank Warren and the Minister of Sport, Turki Al-Saad, basically told you that there was never any offer for that four-man tournament, right? And I know people want to talk about skills challenge, right? And they want to talk about Amir Abdul, I believe his name is, from Skills Challenge. But he was never, ever concrete. He was never really, he never really said anything with substance. A lot of what he said was rumors, talks. No one was ever offered $100 million. That was out there. You know, there's just a lot of rumors that were being addressed. He never made any commitments, never said anything solid. And then we can go back here. We're gonna look at something else here, right? So he was never really conclusive in anything he said. A lot of what he said was, oh, well, this could happen, this is possible, but there was never anything mentioned of certainty. There was no, he said, no official offer has been made to any fighters. He said everything was just talk. But once again, you know, when you have the Minister of Sport, Turki Al-Saad, right? And then you have the Crown Prince himself, which is here. I'm going to show something else here, right? We're going to do another piece of evidence here, right? And this is Tyson Fury posing with the Crown Prince. And it says, I want to personally thank the Crown Prince, His Royal Highness Muhammad bin Solomon, and my father, the Gypsy King here. And he basically says, let's open this up a little bit more. Big news coming out of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This is groundbreaking. This was back in February 26th, back when the Tommy Fury, Jake Paul fight was going on and Tyson Fury was there. So they already knew back then in February, right, that this Ngannou fight was going to happen and the fight with Usyk was not going to happen, at least in Saudi. Why do you think, okay, why do you think Tyson Fury was trying to get that fight done, right, with Usyk in the UK in April? Why do you think that was the case, right? Because this fight with Ngannou was always supposed to happen toward the end of the year. So it seemed to me that Fury wanted to fight Usyk in April and then have this fight later in the year. Fury wanted 2 fights this year. He didn't want just one, right? He always wanted 2 fights. You can argue he never wanted to fight with Usyk. You could say it was all BS. Again, I'm not here to change anyone's opinion. But all I'm telling you right now is you can talk all you want about Skills Challenge, but that whole stuff with Skills Challenge, it was all talk, right? It was all talk. There was never any official offers made. And you can look at February 26th. They were prepared to make an announcement back then, but they held off, right? They wanted to wait. So they knew back in February, all the way back in February, that Fury was going to fight Ngannou later in the year, right? They knew that. They knew that. They may have even have pushed it back. If Fury was able to fight Usyk in April, like the original plan was, they could have probably pushed this back to November or December. Still would have been. It still would have been in Riyadh season, right? So it still would have fit the theme that they were looking for. So the point to this whole video is, after I just showed you the evidence, they never, ever, ever had a plan of putting on that 4-man tournament, right? That was confirmed. That was confirmed by the Minister of Sport himself, right? Who outranks Prince Khalid in the ladder, right? So no disrespect to Prince Khalid, no disrespect to Amir Abdullah, the head of Skills Challenge, but Turki Al-Saad pulled rank here. The Crown Prince pulled rank here, and he was the one that moved the goalpost. He was the one that changed the game. It was their decision. And the reason why this all played out this way was this. And this is no disrespect to anyone. You guys want to live in this fairy tale fucking world where fighters fight for truth, justice, and honor. You want these guys to be like the Avengers and fucking in the Marvel universe. Everybody fights for money. I said this before. All right. You got Fury, who's 35. You got Wilder, who's like 37. You got Joshua, who's like closing in on 34. You got Usyk closing in on 36, 37 himself. All these guys are edging towards the finish line. Okay? Fury's got 6 kids. Oh, why are you justifying? I'm not justifying shit. Saudi justified this. The Minister of Sport justified this. The Crown Prince justified this. Why? Because this is what he wanted. Unfortunately, it's not what I wanted. Unfortunately, it's probably not what you wanted. Unfortunately, the diehards did not want this either. But guess what? This is being put out to attract a different audience, whether we like it or not. Unfortunately, this fight with Ngannou is going to be bigger on a global scale than Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. It was much easier to put this fight together because you say to yourself, right? They pay Fury 50, give him a $50 million guarantee. They give Ngannou a $10 million guarantee. So they put up $60 million in guaranteed money as opposed to trying to put Usyk and Fury together, which probably would have cost them a lot more money, but it would not have given them the amount of exposure, right, that this fight will give them on a global scale. And first and foremost, what are they looking to do? They're looking to improve their image through sport, which is called sports washing. So this was a win-win for them because they were able to put two fighters in there, right? Which you could garner two fan bases. You can garner a younger audience, an older audience. This covers all the bases in terms of getting as much attention that they could, right? For an event, which is the goal. Their goal is to sports wash here. They're trying to get as much exposure in the global market, particularly sports and entertainment, that they can. And this was the perfect fight for them to do that. And Eddie Hearn saying, "Oh, well, we're dealing with the same. We're dealing with the same people that Fury's dealing with for the Ngannou fight." Well, the Minister of Sport basically told you that was a lie. The only person that he's ever spoke to, right, that he's ever spoke to was Frank Warren. It's on video. I just showed it to you, right? I just showed it to you. Whether you want to believe it or not, that's up to you, right? If you want, for the people coming in late, right, you can play it again for the people coming in late. We can play it again for the people who came in late. This is not me. It's not my opinion. None of this is my opinion, right? We can play it again for you if you want. These are all facts. Okay? These are all facts. Here we go.
Boxing don't more thing from our side. There is a lot of people talking about fight in Saudi Arabia or talking, meeting me. Uh, I never meet anyone except Frank.
What were you thinking at that point? What's he referring to there?
Well, I think he's referring to what the current position is, and you know, you've got to be if you can't understand what the man said, which he's open with, then obviously you're on another planet. You're delusional.
So basically, the evidence is irrefutable. So if anyone's mad, if you want to be mad at anybody, why the Usyk fight's not happening, be mad at the Saudis. And again, Usyk signed with Skills Challenge. He was under the impression, in my opinion, and I can't say this factually, but he signed with Skills Challenge because he was under the impression that they could put on the fight between him and Fury at the end of the year, preferably in December, right? And he would get more money fighting Fury in Saudi. That's why I believe, in my opinion, Bob Arum said the same thing, because both these guys are looking to make this fight and make the most money possible, right? That's what they were both thinking. So Usyk, in my opinion, pulled out of the negotiations. Obviously, I think he was upset because how Fury was trolling him. Fury gets under everyone's skin. So this is Fury's game. We're not here to defend Fury's actions. We're not here to play the game of honor truth and justice and hope, and we're all mid 30s, early 40s. I'm mid 50s at this point. So the reality of life is, you shouldn't live vicariously through these guys, looking at these guys like there's some type of heroes for you. Now, I respect all fighters, don't get me wrong, but I'm old enough and I'm smart enough and I'm not naive enough to believe that these guys don't fight for money first and foremost. Oh, what about legacy? Their legacy is what they can leave behind for their families. I told you this all along. You guys want to, live vicariously through these guys. You want these guys to be your heroes. Oh, well, this, that, and the third. Listen, Usyk could have taken the fight in April, right? And Fury would have still had this fight with Ngannou later in the year. So he didn't care. Fury was going to get paid either way, right? Problem is, Usyk ended up fighting Daniel Dubois, right? Once the WBA realized that fight wasn't going to happen with Fury, right? They waited for Usyk and Fury to make their decision. And once Usyk decided, hey, I'm not going to fight Fury in April, then they ordered the mandatory. And what happened? Usyk ends up fighting for a $6 million purse. Tyson Fury is going to be fighting for upwards of 50, 60. Who knows what the fuck he's going to be getting for this fight? All right? Who knows what he's going to be getting for this fight? I sure as hell can tell you it's going to probably be upwards of 10 times more than what Usyk got in his last fight. And this only hurts Usyk's position moving forward when they go back into negotiations, because he can say, look what I've done and look what you've done. Same thing with Dillian Whyte. It's the same thing with Dillian Whyte. When Dillian Whyte said, okay, we'll let it go to purse bids. Fucked up. Because the fight's going to purse bids, now they don't have to offer him a piece of the pay-per-view split, right? Now they go back and look at what his last couple of purses. They had to submit that. He had to submit those to WBC. And what ended up happening, right? So the longer this fight takes to get made, the worse it's going to be for Usyk, because then what's going to happen, if Usyk continues to fight guys like Dubois, guys like Hrgovic, and then he finally goes around to fighting Fury, Fury's just going to continue to say, I'm making $50-60 million a fight. You're making $4-5-6 million a fight. How can I justify not giving you anything less than 30%? Well, B, why do you care? Because I find this whole thing fascinating. B, why do you keep talking about this as if you don't like the fight? Because it's fascinating that a guy who is the WBC champion can fight another guy who's never fought a professional fight in his life, right? Who can never fight who never fought a professional fight in his life. It's fascinating that he can get over $50-60 million for this fight, right? Francis Ngannou, who's never boxed a round in his life, is going to get 10 million, which Usyk got, which is more than what Usyk got, making a mandatory defense against Dubois. And that's the guy who's a unified champion. So I can't even make this shit up. Again, I don't make the news. I just report it. All right, Jack. What's going on, man? What do you have to say? I mean, I pretty much laid it all out here. Oh, this is gross. What a shit.
Nigger.
What a fucking loser. What a piece of shit. And this is what you have here on the YouTube universe. Fucking losers. So I pretty much laid it out there, man. I mean, this is what Saudi wanted. And if Usyk wanted the fight, he could have accepted the deal in April, but he thought that he could have held out and got a better deal with Skills Challenge. And it didn't, and it just didn't play out that way. Right? So if you want to blame anyone, right, for the fight not happening, right, blame Saudi. But also, I'm sorry, Usyk's team made a miscalculation here. They thought Fury had nowhere to go, right? They thought Fury had nowhere to go, but he actually did. He's getting over 10 times more than what Usyk is getting. This does not strengthen Usyk's position when they try to go back and sit down at the negotiating table. The Saudis already made their decision who they're riding with now. They've already made their decision on who they're riding with now, and they're riding the Fury train right now. And this goes all the way back to February when they did the fight with his brother Tommy and Jake Paul. And you had Fury himself taking pictures with the Crown Prince. Him and his dad actually spoke with them. That deal was already in place with Ngannou pretty much for later in the year. That's why Fury tried to make that fight with Usyk in April. And once again, for whatever reason, Usyk said no. We hear all these rumors and well, we were disrespected. We were this, we were that. Again, Tyson Fury trolls everyone. Look what he did to Vladimir Klitschko before that fight. Well, baby pulled out of the rematch. Fine. All these things that you guys say about Fury, they're true. Yes, he lies. Yes, he misleads the public. Yes, he trolls everybody. Right? Yes, he's pulled out of fights in the past. Yes, he's tested positive for PEDs. And in spite of all that, guess what? The Saudis still offered him 50 million plus to fight Francis Ngannou. And we're all still talking about it. He's the bad guy. He embraces that role, just like Floyd Mayweather embraced that role, just like Conor McGregor embraced that role. And just like at one point in his career, Muhammad Ali embraced that role. And what did it do? All it did was make all those guys popular, just like it's making Tyson Fury popular. He's winding everyone up, talking shit. Everyone's talking shit about him. Everyone says they can't stand him, but guess what? You still talk about him. You still keep his name in the headlines, and you're still gonna probably buy these fights, right? Someone's gonna buy these fights, whether they love or hate him. So who's losing and who's winning here? Right? No one cares that Usyk has 3 belts. No one really does, except the boxing nerds. No one cares. Life isn't fair. Gennady Golovkin had all the belts going into negotiations with Canelo Alvarez. And guess what? He was still the B-side, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it. So again, this whole thing about honor, truth, and justice, right? What's good for the sport, what's bad for the sport, who's lying, who's not lying. Does anyone actually watch this sport and not realize by now that everyone's fucking full of shit? That everyone lies? Eddie Hearn told you a couple years back for months that Fury versus Joshua was going to happen, knowing full well that they still were in arbitration with Deontay Wilder. But he was guaranteeing you that fight week after week after week. He was guaranteeing you this fight with Wilder and Joshua was going to happen week after week after week, right? And this is no shot on Eddie Hearn. The fact is he was wrong. And he misled the public. Whether he did it intentionally, whatever the reason was, at some point he had to know that this just wasn't the truth. He never sat down with Turki Al-Assad. Never. Never. And he said that he did. Oh, we're going to be dealing with the Ministry of Sport now. No, you're not. That's not true. But you guys believed it. This isn't a defense of Fury. This is a defense of logic. This is a defense of logic. I showed you all the evidence. That's why Fury said, we don't have to fight in Saudi, Usyk. Let's do it in the UK. I don't care. I'm already going to get another big payday, a monster payday at the end of the year. I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Doesn't matter to me. The Saudis didn't want me to fight you in Saudi anyways. They wanted me to fight Ngannou. That was the fight they wanted, right? And you could argue that fighting Usyk in the UK, right? Fighting Usyk in the UK would make Tyson Fury less money than fighting Ngannou in Saudi. So once again, this was a business move. Why do you care? Because it's fascinating the way this whole thing played out. It's fascinating that a guy who never boxed a fucking round in his life, is making 10 million fucking dollars, and the unified heavyweight champion of the world only made 6 in his last defense in a mandatory defense. That's fascinating to me, right? So we played you the video. Turki Al-Saad, who's the Minister of Sport, who reports directly to the Crown Prince himself, right? He was the one calling the shots here. This was always going to happen. They knew this was going to happen all the way back in February. They knew this. I showed you the Facebook post, right, with Tyson Fury arm in arm with the Crown Prince. No, the Saudis did not want Usyk versus Fury. You don't believe it? Okay. Once again, the cognitive dissonance. We'll have to show you everything because you have cognitive dissonance, right? We have to show you everything because you have cognitive dissonance. We already played you the video, right? But guess what? We'll play it for you again because you have cognitive dissonance. And you don't want to look. They want to believe something so bad, and then when it doesn't happen the way they want it, they lie to themselves. You don't believe it? Well, hear it from the Minister of Sport himself. He'll tell you it has nothing to do with me. And you can see for yourself what the plan was all along. I've already showed. I shared the Facebook page. Here it is. You don't want to believe it? Here it goes. To believe me, just bear with me here. Hold on. We'll play it again. We're gonna play it again. Hold on. I apologize. I'm on a different. They already played it, and you want me to play it again, which is fine. We can do that. We'll do what you want because you don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe me. I'm not the one who said it. So we'll share this. We'll share this screen for you. I apologize. I'm on a different computer. I'm in a different area today because I'm kind of tied up. I couldn't make it to the office. Did a slow connection night. So here we go. So they never had an offer, and that is going to be confirmed right here by the Minister of Sport himself, right here.
I hope the fans of the boxing don't listen and care about any rumor until they have official thing from our side. There is a lot of people talking about fight in Saudi Arabia or talking, meeting me. Uh, I never meet anyone except Frank.
What were you thinking at that point? What's
So anyone right now anyone right now who doesn't believe that, right? Anyone who doesn't believe that, you have cognitive dissonance. You have cognitive dissonance if you don't believe that, right? Now we can show, now let's show the Facebook page because they knew this was going to happen, right? This was planned all the way back in February. Once again, this is why Fury tried to get this fight over the line in the UK in April, because he knew the Saudis never wanted it. He knew the Saudis never wanted it. Let's look at the Facebook post. This is Tyson Fury's Facebook post. And this is him posing with the Crown Prince back in February, right? This is back in February, right? 26th, when Tommy Fury was fighting. He was fighting Jake Paul. And Fury was there as a special guest. It's coming out of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, game changing. Same words Frank used. I want to personally thank the Crown Prince, His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman, and my father, the Gypsy King, right? And he's posing right there with the Crown Prince himself. Where's Usyk? Where's Deontay Wilder? Where's Anthony Joshua? Again, I don't make the news. I just report it. They knew back in February. They knew Usyk versus Fury was never, ever, ever happening in Saudi Arabia this year. The plan was Fury in Ngannou, as I explained, right? This is the bigger, more popular fight globally, and they want exposure globally. They want to show the world that this is who we are. We can put on big events. This is the biggest event that we could put on. That's what they wanted to do, right? It's irrefutable. There's nothing you can say now, okay? Who cares? You want to play the, give me 1 second. I got to step up for 1 second. I'll be right back. I apologize. Give me 1 second. And this is the reason I had to step out for a second. I'm back boxing, Jack. And this is the reason why Fury didn't want a rematch clause, right? It's the reason why Fury didn't want a rematch clause, right? Because he wanted to beat Usyk and just fight Ngannou, right? He didn't want a rematch clause. He didn't want Usyk to lose and then ask for a rematch clause. He didn't want to give Usyk a rematch clause. Usyk wanted a rematch clause, right? And Fury said no, because he said, after I beat you, I want to go fight Ngannou, right? I want to go fight Ngannou. Why am I going to beat you? Then you exercise a rematch clause against me. Then I got to go fight you again later in the year when I can make way more money fighting Ngannou in Saudi. It's that simple. Fury doesn't care about, I don't care about Undisputed anymore. I don't care about Undisputed anymore. I would love to, I want to see Usyk and Fury fight because they're the number 1 and 2. But if Usyk vacated 2 of his belts and the fight with Fury still happened, I wouldn't give a fuck if fucking 4 belts were on the line. Means nothing to me. I don't give a fuck. I really don't at this point. Think I care about these fucking sanctioning bodies? You think I really care about these sanctioning bodies? After the WBC is allowing Jamal Charlo to hold their belt hostage for 2 years and not even making a defense? Guys, when you gonna wake up, bro? You want to live in the land of sunshine and rainbows. You want to live in the truth, justice, and honor. You think these guys are superheroes? They fight for fucking money. That's what it is. So Fury tried to make this fight in April. Tried, right? He didn't want a rematch clause. He didn't want Usyk to lose, then exercise the rematch clause. And then that fight with Ngannou gets taken off the table. He wanted both fights this year, right? He wanted both fights this year. And he's just talking to the Crown Prince himself in February, right? Offering him a fucking boatload of money. And you think he's gonna sit down with Usyk and say and let fucking Alex Krasik make demands on him? He was already in the driver's seat from the jump. And this isn't me taking sides. This is me just looking at the reality of the fucking situation. It's reality. I showed you everything. They never wanted the fight. If you don't agree with that, then you're lying to yourself. People who say things like that, they're emotional. You listen to too much propaganda. Fury wanted the fight in the UK at Wembley. They even had a date picked out, April 29th, right? Oh, why is Fury putting deadlines on the fight? Because the longer it takes to make this, the harder it gets to get this Ngannou fight scheduled. So we already had this Ngannou fight scheduled for the end of the year. So of course there had to be deadlines to get this fight done. Oh my God. Oh my God. I am emotional. I am not a normal human being. Don't look at me as your role model. Don't stoop down to my level. Be yourself. I get emotional when people like you, I just showed you all the evidence and you're not listening. This is called cognitive dissonance on your part. Don't compare yourself to me. I'm a retard, but I'm making sense. I'm a retard that's making sense. You're not making sense. This is simple. This is simple. They knew this Ngannou fight, and I'm going to keep repeating it because some of you idiots in the chat don't get it. You don't get it. There was always a sense of urgency to get this fight over the line, right? There was a reason why Fury never wanted a rematch clause. There was a reason. Because I want to fight Ngannou at the end of the year, and if there's a rematch clause, I can't do that. Why am I going to let these guys fuck up my bag at the end of the year? It's that simple. Showed you the Facebook post. They already had this fight signed, pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered. And back in February. It's just that simple. It was already fucking penciled in for the most part. That's why Fury said, let's just do the fight in the UK, because he knew, right? He knew that they were never going to do the Usyk fight. And I feel bad for Usyk. I feel bad for Usyk. You can say what you want about Skills Challenge. You can say what you want about Amir Abdallah. Every time he was asked about, has there ever been any, there's never, he's clearly stated, no official offers have been made. All we have now is talks. And who's to say that he wasn't just saying all those things just to help promote this fight, just to get people interested in this fight, just to get people interested in Fury, just to get people talking about Fury, who they knew they were going to showcase later in the year. Because once again, right, this was the Crown Prince, this was his plan all along. Okay? This was his plan all along. So unfortunately, they were using that, in my opinion, to promote Fury, to help promote this fight. Right? It's that simple, guys. It can't get any clearer now at this point. It's already been exposed. It's already been exposed. I can't make it any clearer for you. This was the plan all along. They never wanted that Usyk fight. They never wanted that Wilder Joshua fight. I just played you the video several times. Saudi Minister of Sport, Turki Al-Saad, confirmed it. So this was the plan all along. Just like Bivol miscalculated with Canelo, Usyk did the same thing with Fury. And it's great by people coming out and saying that Fury ducked Usyk. That only gives Fury more exposure. That only gets Fury more press. Because just like Floyd Mayweather, half the people come see him win, half the people come to see him lose. So there's a lot of people who are gonna hate watch Fury now. And I'm curious to see how many people actually really buy this Ngannou fight. Again, I don't like the fight. I don't like it at all. I'm disappointed that it's happening instead of the Usyk fight. But it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter. Because there's still a lot of people talking about this fight. There's still a lot of people. Fury is going to embrace all of this hate that he's getting. All it's doing is just giving him more press. It's giving him more attention, right? Look how many stories and articles are being written about Fury as we speak. Look how many videos. Look how many videos I'm doing about Fury. Why, B? Why do you care? If you don't like the fight, why? Because I find it fascinating. I'll repeat, fascinating that Saudi Arabia threw everyone a curveball, including myself. But once this evidence has come out, no one can refute what the plan was all along. No one can refute what the plan was all along. It's that simple. Fury is a polarizing figure. He's like the Donald Trump of boxing, right? And that's what makes him so popular. Because people love him, they hate him, but they watch him. They listen to him. They do videos about him. They write articles about him. They talk about him. Well, guess what? Guess what? Nobody cares what you want. Nobody cares what I want. Saudi made their decision. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what we want. Usyk and his team were angry at the way Fury was talking about them, diminishing them, demeaning them. But again, Fury did the same thing to Wilder, did the same thing to Joshua, did the same thing to Vladimir Klitschko. If you're going to let Fury get under your skin, and that's going to be the reason why you pull out of negotiations because you don't like how you're being treated, you don't like how you're being dealt with, you don't like the fact that you're being disrespected, that's just going to come with the territory. I'm sorry to say. I'm not here to tell anyone what to do, how they should conduct themselves, how they should do business. All I know is one guy is getting 50, 60 million dollars plus, the other guy's got 6 million. The market dictates everything. Right? Doesn't matter. This is just the way it is. It's how boxing's always been. Well, why are you justifying it? I don't have the power to justify it. I'm not the one who's writing the checks. Saudi Arabia is justifying this. Saudi Arabia is justifying this, right? The Crown Prince is justifying this, right? He told us back in February this was going to happen. And we weren't sure if he was telling the truth or not. But guess what? He was. He was. This fight was never happening in Saudi. Never. Sorry to say. It's not what I want. It's not what I want. But it's what I'm getting. Sometimes you take what you get. You don't get what you want. And this is just one of those situations. Not much more I can say about it, bro. It is what it is. I showed you the evidence. If it's not clear to you now, then it's never going to be. It's not what you want to believe. It's what is. It's not a what aboutism, it's a what is. This is the truth. They knew they were going to do this all the way back in February. Right? That's why there was a deadline. That's why the rematch clause had to have been taken out. This was all according to Saudi's plan. Okay? All according to Saudi's plan. Not much more I can say about it, guys. I'm out of here. Until next time, Beaver's out. Talk to y'all soon. I gave you the evidence. I gave you the truth. This is all irrefutable, bro. It's all irrefutable. If you want to get mad at anybody, right? Get mad at Saudi. Right? I would even go one further. It's on record. Alex Krosick said, we pulled out of these negotiations in April with Fury because we felt we were being disrespected. Okay, guess what? If that's going to be your stance moving forward, then guess what? If that's a requirement of you to get a fight with Fury, that Fury respects you and treats you the way you want to be treated, good luck with that. Because he's done this to everybody. Everybody. He tortured Vladimir Klitschko. Tortured him. Right? Tortured and trolled that man for months prior to that fight actually happening. And tortured and tormented him afterward. And yes, he pulled out of the rematch. And yes, that was a bad look. And yes, he tested positive for PEDs. And yes, he walked away from the sport for 2 years, right? And yes, he's been inconsistent, right? All these things are true. And he's still the number one guy in the division, calling all the shots. Whether that's fair or not, it's just the way it is. Because people love drama. People love controversy. People love this shit. Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor, Muhammad Ali. It's just the way it's always been, guys. Being the heel, being Stone Cold Steve Austin, it pays off sometimes. You could even argue when Hulk Hogan went heel and joined the NWO. That's when he was his most popular. That's when he was probably making the most money in his life by playing the heel. So you guys guys can do what you want. I just think a lot of you are just taking this way too serious. Way too serious. Right? You're taking this way too fucking serious. Again, cognitive dissonance. You haven't done the work and you're lazy. He made $8 million his last fight, and he made $10 million the fight before that. Tyson Fury made $30 million versus Chisora. He's making over $60 million in this fight. It's not the same, bro. The Saudis don't want Anthony Joshua. They want Tyson Fury. These are all facts. These are all facts. Has nothing to do with feelings. You want to believe what you want to believe. It's the way it is. Simple and plain. This is what sells. You need a bad guy. And Fury is welcoming to take that role. That's simple. You want to call me biased? Guilty. But guess what? I'm also objective. I don't like Tank Davis. I don't like him at all as a person. I'm not going to say I hate him. I'm not going to call him names. I respect him as a fighter. I'm not going to go down that road. I'm not going to be like other people and you know, say all these things about him like on camera, because I would never say it to his face. I don't roll like that. I'm just going to say I don't like you. He's not my cup of tea. Right? But guess what? He has no fucking belts at lightweight. And he is the guy everyone wants to fight. He is the money man. Right? People love controversy, drama. They like that stuff. It sells. I don't make the rules. I don't make the news. I just report it. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm not justifying anything. I'm just explaining it. I'm just explaining it. I seriously doubt that AJ Wilder will be in a big stadium. I think you have more of a chance seeing that in Vegas at a casino than you do in a stadium. My opinion. Not saying I'm right or wrong. Not saying I'm right or wrong. I don't think that fight goes in a stadium. I just don't. That may end up being a Vegas fight. Just saying. Just saying. That could be a Vegas fight. Don't rule that out. All right. Oh, here we go. Here we go with the virtue signaling. Babe, what happened to you? Dude, you're a little boy, bro. You want to believe in the tooth fairy. You want to be coddled. You want to be coddled. You want these guys to be your heroes. You want these guys, oh, why isn't Tyson Fury fighting Usyk? Because I want him to. And now I'm going to throw my little tantrum and throw all my toys out of the prom because I'm not getting what I want. What a fucking pussy you guys, some of you guys are, bro. What a pussy some of you guys are. It is what it is, man. You got to deal with life. You're not going to always get what you want in life. It's that simple. You got to deal with it. Usyk's eventually probably going to have to make more concessions than he wanted to, because this is, he doesn't have the leverage. I thought he was going to gain some leverage by signing with Skills Challenge. I really believed that. I really thought he was going to even the playing field. But the Crown Prince told me otherwise. Crown Prince told me otherwise. I can't do anything. That's not in my control what the Crown Prince does. I'm Lebanese. I'm not Saudi Arabian. I mean, we're Middle Eastern brothers and stuff like that. We'd probably dap him up if I saw him, but I don't make decisions. I have no power. I have no power in this situation. Why don't you speak out against it, Beeb? Who the fuck am I? I'm a nobody. I'm just a guy with an opinion. How does that make you feel? Hear what this pussy just said? How does that make you feel? This is something a fucking 17-year-old fucking high school little girl would say. I'm prepared in life to deal with things not always going the way I want them to be. So how does that make me feel? Doesn't matter how I feel. No one cares how I feel. No one cares how you feel, you fucking snowflake. The more you talk, the more you sound like a pussy. and I'm actually thinking you may have a vagina. I'm sorry. I don't like men, right? I'm not against people who are transgender. I'm not against people who are gay. But if you claim to be a man with a fully functional ball sack, then act like one. Now, if you tell me you're transgender, I'll apologize to you. If you want to identify as a woman, that's fine. That's your decision. But if you're going to come on here and tell me you're a man, then act like a man and be masculine. Don't be a bitch and cry about how you feel. You're not going to get any sympathy from someone like me. I don't expect any sympathy from you or anyone else. Don't expect any sympathy from me. I don't give a fuck how you feel. Dude, no one cares about your feelings, bro.
Hold on 1 second.
No one cares about your feelings.
You there, babe?
I'm here, but no one cares about your feelings. This ain't about
Likewise.
truth, justice. This ain't about
Hey.
truth and justice. It ain't about honor. This is about the reality of the world.
Okay.
You gotta deal
So
with it. You gotta.
what's that?
Are you prepared to deal with it? Yes or no?
Yeah, babe, I'm a fan of your show. I find you guys hilarious. You guys are good people, man. What's that?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, because I jumped on halfway and you were going on a rant about how something about Fury and what's never going to happen with Usyk, or I have no idea.
Did you watch all the evidence that I played?
No, that's why I asked you. That's why I asked you. What are you talking about? What did I miss?
You were in the chat when I played the video. You were in the chat when I showed the Facebook post.
Yeah, and what was my response?
Tell me what it was. I don't. You were denying it. You were displaying cognitive dissonance after the evidence was presented to you. And you wouldn't accept it.
Okay.
So let me ask you this.
I said, how do you know?
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
How do I know? How do I know? Because the Minister of Sports in Saudi Arabia, Turki Al-Saad, told me that no one ever spoke with him except for Frank Warren. So what does that mean? That means that this was the fight they always wanted. Then I showed you the Facebook page dated back on February 26th when Tyson Fury was posing with the Crown Prince himself, and he said, big plans coming. This fight was always locked in for the end of the year.
No, that's not what I said, Beeb. I said, how do you know he wasn't just talking about Wilder, Joshua, just throwing out indirects? Is what I'm saying.
Oh,
I don't know about the Fury. I don't know about the Fury and the Usyk. I knew the Fury and the Usyk.
He said fights. There never could have been an Usyk fight on the table because only Frank spoke with him. No one from Usyk's side sat down and spoke. Usyk wasn't even there. Tyson Fury was there. They were negotiating that fight back in February with Ngannou. They already told you that. This fight was, again, please, you got to be strong. Fight all of everything that you want, all your hopes and dreams, push them aside. Push all your hopes and dreams aside. Hey, listen, I wanted to be a lawyer I wanted to be president when I was a kid. Reality slapped me in the fucking face, and I'm a local 22 member as we speak. You have to just accept reality. This fight is never going to happen, bro.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay.
So what are we arguing about? What are we
I don't fucking know. You went on a tangent. I have no idea.
Again, I go on tangents. I am not a normal human being.
I know, and that's why I appreciate, man. That's why I appreciate.
I'm like Fury. I'm volatile too.
And look, I understand you're a big Fury fan. That's good. All I said was I would like to.
I'm a reality fan. I'm a fan of accepting the truth. I'm a deliverer of the truth. I'm a deliverer of the truth.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Would you prefer to see the other fight? I know you don't care. I know it's not what's happening. I'm asking.
How many times in this video did I say I wanted Fury versus Usyk? How many times?
Okay, so we're on the same page, right? You're going on a tangent. Okay, because you're stuck.
Can I ask you a question? Would you
I
like
don't
to
know
see
because I haven't been able to answer anything. But go ahead.
would you like to see world hunger be eliminated tomorrow?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Is it going to ever happen?
Not in my lifetime, just like the Usyk and Fury fight.
Okay. So let's
Now
take
can I
away.
now can I ask you a
Go
question?
ahead.
So
Anything you want.
once again, you said that Frank Warren, whatever, they spoke to him, and he said that the fights weren't going to happen. So by him stating that, so that cancels out Joshua, Wilder, Usyk, all those shit's not going to happen, right?
Are they? Yes, 100%, of course.
That it's not going to happen, or it is?
So that happened. They're not happening in Saudi. Not
Well,
this year. Not this year, anyways.
well, I could have. That's what I'm saying. That Eddie Hearn came out saying that it could happen in Dubai and other places, right?
He also told you that he was talking to the minister of sport, and this guy told you he wasn't. So I mean, what do you want? I mean, again, he also told you for almost 8 months straight that Joshua versus Fury was happening. He also told you this fight was close to being signed. I mean, again, I'm giving you factual evidence right from the ministry. Who would you believe more? Who would you believe more? If someone was to ask you whether or not a fight was going to happen in Saudi Arabia, who would you believe more, Eddie Hearn or the Ministry of Sport?
No, I believe you. I believe you that it might not happen in Saudi.
This guy is a prince, right?
I just said I get it. I get it. But another thing too, you believe that Fury actually wanted to fight Usyk?
Do I believe it?
Yeah.
My opinion?
Honestly.
100% I believe it. But that's why he wanted the fight to be in Wembley, because this fight was going to happen at the end of the year. He wanted this fight to happen in April.
So you believe, wait, you take Fury's word, right? You take it that he would fight Usyk, and he's done everything.
Do I believe Fury everything he says? No. Do I believe that he wanted the Usyk fight? Yes. Can I prove that he wanted the Usyk fight? No. You asked me for my opinion. Now, if my opinion
Interesting.
is not, you don't, well, put it together, my friend. Put it together. Let's put this all together. Who actually walked away from the negotiations?
After he adjusts, how many times did he switch it up? And then
that's called negotiations, my friend. Anyone will switch anything.
Usyk, I mean, okay.
Again, who walked away from the negotiations?
Usyk.
Okay. Over what? Over what? What was the wait. The argument was over a rematch clause, correct? Fury knew that he had this fight later in the year.
Hold on.
That's why he wait. He didn't want a rematch clause because he couldn't have a rematch clause because he had this fight waiting for him at the end of the year.
Who put the rematch clause to begin with?
Fury's team did.
So now you're moving the goalpost. So again, you take his word. See, there you go. There you go.
Let me educate you on negotiations. Let me educate you.
I love you, so.
Let me educate you on negotiations.
I love you, so.
Let me negotiate.
You don't let me get a point across.
Let me educate you. You will talk.
You love a show. I love your show, bro. But
talk after I finish the sentence. Aren't the goalposts continually moving in negotiations? That's what's called negotiations, my friend. That's how business is done. That's called negotiations. This buzz phrase that everyone's using, the goalposts are moving. The goalposts, that is called negotiations. Okay? That's what negotiations are. The goalposts are constantly being moved in negotiations. Why? Because one side is jockeying for position over the other. One side is trying to use leverage over the other. That is the world. We negotiate contracts every 3 years.
You want to talk about cognitive dissonance?
In my job, I'm in a union. I'm a card carrying local 22 member. Every 3 years we negotiate a contract, right? We're constantly moving the goalposts one way. They're constantly moving the goalposts the other way. That is called negotiations. That's the world, my friend. Go ahead.
Did you just compare the union that renegotiates in 3 years of renegotiating a fight and changing the
Yes.
moving the goalposts like
Yes.
third?
Yes. Yes. 100%. Is it the same? No. It's similar. You and I both have black shirts on.
No, the
Does that mean
problem.
we're the
You know
same?
what?
Whoa. Does that mean we're the same person?
There, there you go again.
We share a similarity. We don't
I
have to
thought
be
you were
the
gonna let
same
me
person.
talk.
We don't have to be the same. We don't have to be the same to share a similarity. Go ahead.
Are you sure? All right. Look, I understand you're a big Fury fan. That's cool. I don't hate the guy. I just said I would like.
You're a big Usyk fan.
I don't mind him. Am I gonna lose sleep over it if he
Who do you like better, Usyk or Fury?
Usyk?
Okay,
But
so
do you know why?
So you're biased to your side.
Hey, I went for Fury when he fought Wilder. What does that mean? What does that prove? I'm a boxing fan, B.
But in this particular
See,
instance, right?
again, you don't let me talk. You
In
just
this particular instance, you've
I'm
chosen
done.
the side of Usyk, correct? You're on the side
Oh.
of Usyk in this
See,
thing.
you want to know the difference between me and you, B? And like I said, I enjoy your takes. I enjoy you guys' show. I watch this shit all the time.
What's the difference?
It's you. I'm a boxing fan. You get stuck on Fury. You vouch for Fury. You'll die for Fury. I've seen it. That's why.
Nope.
Oh my God.
Nope. He failed the PED test. He was going to get suspended. That's why he walked away. That's his fault. I don't defend him on that.
What? That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I said you're a big Fury fan.
And you're a big Usyk fan. And you're a big Usyk fan. You.
No, I'm not. I'm a fan. See the difference. When I was a fan of AJ, I was a fan of Fury. I'm just a fan of boxing. You're stuck on one guy, and that's cool. That's awesome. That's your guy. That's your guy at heavyweight. That's cool. But what I'm saying is,
what does that have to do with anything I'm saying? Did Saudi want that fight with Usyk and Fury? Yes or no?
remember what were we talking about before this started?
Answer the
You
question.
see, you move the goalpost now. You see, you move the goalpost again. You said
that's a buzzword. That's a cop out.
Okay, you changed the subject. You changed the subject.
This is an evolving conversation regarding Fury.
B, what were we discussing? Right now, what were we discussing?
What do you want to talk about?
No, what were we discussing before
What do you want to talk
you
about?
went back to the same thing? I said, do you believe Fury? And you said yes. And I said, does anything he done give you any sort of confidence that he really wanted that fight? No. And you know it. But we can agree to disagree.
How do you know Usyk wanted to fight if he pulled out of negotiations?
Because he was willing to take 30%.
Yeah,
and then
he wanted a rematch clause that Fury could not give him. You know why?
Wait.
He had the Ngannou fight.
Wait.
He had the Ngannou fight later in the year.
That's okay. Why. Okay. So if he had the Ngannou fight, why would he put a rematch clause to begin with? Fury's team. I'm done.
They made a mistake.
I'm done. That's bullshit. Deep, I love your show. I'm out.
Yeah, because you had no. I mean, what do you want me to say? What is that proof? Once again, we got an Usyk fanboy who gets destroyed, and he's got to leave. It's that simple. Why was there a rematch clause in the first place? Because that was put in there before the fucking Ngannou fight was on the table. You guys got to understand. They were negotiating this fight for about a year. So it has nothing to do with the fact that Saudi never wanted this fight. It's that simple. It's that simple. If your argument is going to be that I'm just a Fury fan and you're not going to listen to the actual objective facts, then it is what it is. It's that simple. I don't believe in rematch clauses. Chris Eubank didn't even know that he had a rematch clause originally in his fight with Liam Smith until later. So they should have never put the rematch clause in the first place. So why not just take it out? What's the big deal? So because something was put in there before and someone wants to take it out after, right? And the contracts weren't, it's one thing if the contracts were already signed with that rematch clause in there, right? But now when someone wants to take it out because they know they have the bigger fight down the road later in the year that they don't want to jeopardize. I mean, this situation was constantly evolving. So to just sit there and say, oh, well, why did he put there? Again, if you don't like a guy, that's fine. I don't like Tank Davis. I don't. But guess what? He calls the shots. Just because I didn't like what he did to Ryan Garcia with the rehydration clause, Ryan Garcia accepted it. It's that simple. It's that simple. So this is just another example of cognitive dissonance. Once you beat somebody, the guy has to run, and he just leaves. It's horrible. It's horrible that this guy comes on and says, who put the rematch clause in the first place? Fury did, and he wanted to take it out. Why do you want to take it out, Pete? Because when he was in Saudi in February, guess what? They offered him a fight with Ngannou later in the year. So in order for him to take that fight, guess what happens? I got to take the rematch clause out. Is that really hard to figure out? Is that hard to figure out? I mean, there were ongoing negotiations between these two camps. And what do you think too when you negotiate, when you're negotiating with somebody, right? And your side you draw up contracts and someone else draws up contracts. What do you think when they try to make amendments to the contracts? Do you think they start from scratch? No. When you make an amendment to a contract, you cross out a line. Cross out a line. I mean, this is just basic law, right? This is basic law. Why did Usyk want a rematch clause? Because he wanted another payday if he lost. No, they're not called counteroffers. That's not true. It's not true. It's called an amendment in the contract. Okay? And again, I have the business law book right in my library. I can explain to you contracts. You ran out because you couldn't prove your point. Of course there was a rematch clause. I hate rematch clauses. I'm consistent on that. I don't think there should be rematch clauses in any fights. I hate them. But there was one. Right? Because they were negotiating prior to February. They were talking about this fight for almost a year and a half. Right? They were negotiating this. Right? No, you don't again, you don't know what you're talking about. They're not called counteroffers. They're called amendments. You can't make a counteroffer until a contract is, once you make a counteroffer, the original contract is void and you have to start from scratch. It's that simple. That simple. It's that simple. I don't understand, right? Why this is so hard to figure out. When you make an amendment to a contract, it's that simple. Contract modification, contract amendment, right? Making an amendment to the contract. It's that simple. What do you think, that they draw up brand new contracts from scratch? No, they make amendments to the original contract. It's that simple. No offense, you're a little bit out of your depth here. because you don't really know what you're talking about. I'm sorry to say. I hate to be condescending to you, but what is a contract amendment definition? Here it is, guys. We're gonna have to teach Mr. Juan once again, who's constantly failing at everything. Here it is. Most people can't see that. Only anti-Fury fans see that because we already played the video for you showing you where Turki al-Assad, right? Where Turki al-Assad already said the only person we've talked to was Frank Warren. And then I showed you the Facebook post in February. We're not going to argue with people who are going to ignore the facts. So yes, Fury's team put the rematch clause in there, right? It was in the original contract. I don't like it. I think it was a stupid thing to do. Even if the Saudi fight wasn't on the table, you know why it was a stupid thing to do? Because you always had that Joshua fight, which would be a bigger fight. Why rematch Usyk twice when you had two other bigger fights out there for you, right? You had a bigger fight with Joshua, and you had a potential bigger fight with Ngannou. So yeah, the rematch clause, in my opinion, I mean, I'm consistent. That was a stupid thing for Fury's team to put in there in the beginning. But guess what they tried to do? They wanted to take it out. And I'm not mad at Usyk. Usyk did everything Usyk did at the time. I probably would have tried to do myself if I was in his position, because he thought he signed with Skills Challenge, right? And he thought he got some leverage there. I thought he got some leverage, right? But new evidence came out, and I changed my position. I actually thought when Usyk signed with Skills Challenge, I said it. I made a video about it. I thought that was a brilliant move. I thought that was going to give him some leverage. But little did I know, right, what the whole master plan was. All I could do was speculate what the master plan was. I never knew what it was fully and totally, right? So let's do a little bit of education here, so we can help out Juan because he seems to not understand things, right? So a contract amendment is a change, correction, clarification, or deletion to an agreement you have already signed. Amendment leaves your original agreement substantially intact. However, you can use an amendment to clarify details that were left out before or to address a new need that became apparent and the contract was originally entered into. Contracts are part of a vital building business relationships, completing blah, blah. So basically, amendments were made to the original contract. So that's simple. So I have to keep teaching and educating people. Again, you didn't do the research. Okay. You've always been an anti-Fury. All the Matchroom fanboys and all the Hearn fanboys became Usyk fanboys because they want to go against Fury. All right. Fury wasn't changing it up constantly. 70-30, no rematch clause. Usyk wanted a rematch clause. It's that simple. Then he signs with Skills Challenge, thinking he can get a better deal, fighting the fight in Saudi instead of the UK, and that's what happened. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the super chats. I apologize. I'll get them right now. My fault, my friend. Thank you for reminding me. I apologize. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone has a super day. You killed it on HCP last night, man. Breakdown, Eddie Hearn always lying on Fury. Please, these stands. All right, you got it. How many concessions do you have to make, Joe? I mean, I don't know what these people want me to say. Again, show me evidence to prove me wrong. You have blind love. People who say you have blind love for Fury have blind love for Usyk. You're projecting your own feelings onto me. You have blind love for Usyk. You just don't want to accept the fact, right, that Fury wanted the fight without the rematch clause, right? He wanted the fight without the rematch clause. Okay? So he could fight Ngannou later in the year. Fury did the same thing when AJ accepted his. How did he do that? Once again, we're not being honest. Who pulled out of that fight? Joshua. Joshua pulled out of that fight too. So again, Fury never ended negotiations in either one of these fights. It was the other side. But you're going to keep believing what you want to believe. You guys have just taken a side. And Joshua fought Jermaine Franklin and Robert Helenius. And Usyk fought Daniel Dubois. So what's your point? What did those guys do that was so, like, again, who's making big fights in the heavyweight division right now? What happened to Wilder? What happened to Wilder versus Joshua? Where'd that fight? Where'd that fight go? Whose fault is that not happening? Saudi made their decision on what they wanted. There was always going to be deadlines this year in dealing with Tyson Fury because he wanted and he had to squeeze this fight in with Ngannou. Little Penny, I don't want to get on you right now, but you got to make a decision, right? Do you want to play both sides and be a contrarian, or do you want to listen to accept the data that's being presented? You're trying to play both sides. It's like, it's not really. I'm not trying. It seems like you're just trying to be a contrarian on both sides. You gotta make a decision on what you believe and what you don't believe. I mean, it's facts. It's facts, right? That both guys ended negotiations with Fury. It's facts. It's not my opinion. Alex Krasik admitted we pulled out of negotiations with Fury. And they didn't want to get into the details. So it is what it is. This is why you can't have good faith discussions with people like this. I blocked this guy before. You need to provide evidence. We provided evidence on why things are the way they are, right? We showed you Turki Al-Assad, right? You know what? I think I'm going to block you again. I'm going to block you again. I'm getting rid of you again. I don't want you on my channel. We need to have at least good faith discussions here. If you want to say Fury's a drug cheat, you want to say he's pulled out of fights before, you could say all those things, and we're not gonna deny any of that. Are we gonna say Fury's been inconsistent? Are we gonna say Fury has not been the best? Are we gonna say Fury's been the best heavyweight champion? Due to his actions? No. Joshua has been more consistent. He's never pulled out of fights, right? But he's never fought Wilder or he's never fought Fury. I mean, these are all facts. So it is what it is. Yeah, we're blocking people who are just gonna come in here and just you got to at least try to make a good. If you're gonna come in here and call people fanboys and that's gonna be your argument, then I mean we're wasting everyone's time. I don't know what else I can tell you. I've told you I wanted the Usyk fight, but I'm explaining to you why it didn't happen. You want to blame someone, blame Saudi for the fight not happening. It's just that simple. If Saudi didn't offer Fury this Ngannou fight, and they said we wanted the Usyk fight, then the Usyk fight would have happened in Saudi. That simple. Everything's been explained. Everything's been explained. I played the video where the Minister of Sport said no one has ever talked to us about any fights. Any fights you hear are rumors. I showed you the Facebook post from Fury posing with the Crown Prince himself, saying we have big news to announce. Right? So if Usyk really wanted to become undisputed, right, and he really thought he could beat Fury, then why did he need a rematch clause? Why didn't he accept the deal in April? Because he wanted more money in Saudi. And I don't fault him for that. I'm not here to criticize Alexander Usyk. All I'm here to say is hindsight is 2020. And I thought it was a great move signing with Skills Challenge. I really did. But now since they've gotten phased out of the equation, right? Then apparently doesn't look like a good movement right now. I was wrong. I was wrong. No one's coming with facts. Nobody's coming with facts. Everyone's coming with emotions. Fury failed the PED test. If you want to call him a drug cheat, have at it. Right? Fury retired 2 years ago after agreeing to fight Vladimir Klitschko in a rematch. Bad look for him. Can't defend that, right? Fury's been inconsistent in his career. He's pulled out of fights. Can't defend that, right? There's lots you can criticize Fury about, but it has nothing to do with this fight with Usyk not being made this year. None of that has anything to do. You want to go back to 2015? You want to go back 8 years ago? It's fine. You want to go back to 2009? It's fine. But at the end of the day, we are where we are today because Saudi Arabia decided that the only fight they wanted this year from Tyson Fury, from any of these four heavyweights, they chose they wanted Fury versus Ngannou. That was their decision. Fury tried to fight Usyk in April. Didn't want a rematch clause, as I explained, because he had this fight with Ngannou already put in place for the end of the year, right? Already had this fight with Ngannou set up for the end of the year. That's why he wanted the rematch clause taken out. Was it a mistake to have it in there in the first place, in my opinion? Yes. Yes. Was it wrong for Usyk to want to keep it in there? Absolutely not. Because that gives him, just like the Joshua fight, it gives him another big payday in a fight where he can make more money than he could fight making any fighting anyone else. So I'm not criticizing what Usyk did, but at the end of the day, the reality of the situation is it didn't work out in his favor. Hindsight is 2020. So I'm not saying what Usyk did was wrong. I'm not saying at the time when he did it, it was a bad decision, but it ended up not playing out and working out in his favor. That's just the reality of the situation, and nothing I say, do can change that. The Saudis made their decision on what they wanted. They made their decision on what they wanted. It's that simple. It's that simple. That's another good point. That's another good point. Fury was ready to fight Zhang. Fury was ready to fight Zhang. And Joyce activated his rematch clause. Right? And Joyce activated his rematch clause. So you don't have to like Fury. Does Fury lie? Does he troll? Does he get under people's skin? Does he always do what's best for the sport in terms of fans? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. But just because we don't like somebody, I mean, are we going to ignore the truth? Are we really going to ignore the truth? If Saudi doesn't offer him this fight, then the Usyk fight happens, in my opinion, or the Joshua fight happens, in my opinion. I still think the Joshua fight's going to happen before the Usyk fight. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. Usyk should fight Wilder next. Why not fight Wilder? So we'll see what happens, guys. It is what it is, man. Nothing I can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. Complain all we want. But at the end of the day, these guys fight for money. And as long as Saudi decides that these are the fights they want, Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, they've made a decision. They want big events, right? They're looking for big events. They don't care about best versus the best here. They want big events. So it is what it is, man. All right, till next time, Beaver's out. Talk to you next time. Everyone have a good day.